Hello everyone. Well, in today's video, we're going to go over how the SPY and the Nasdaq created new all-time highs when there was negative divergence. Whoa, what? How is this even possible, even though the same thing has been occurring time and time again for the past year and a half? So, in today's video, we're going to go over and talk about how I said that the SPY was near support and we ended up, coming back down to that level of support and then ended up making new all-time highs. All right, so we're just going to go over the overall indices. We're going to talk about the crypto market and let's get right into it. All right, so number one on the SPY, let's go ahead and fix up these Fibonacci levels here. All right, so now we have new Fibonacci levels defined on the SPY. We can see that we're trading right above this blue trend line here. That was the uptrend during, since the COVID crisis, right? And we just essentially we're touching it, right? So we need to see if we can maintain above this trend line. So if that can remain, that'd be really nice, but it doesn't look like it could sustain itself. So we need to see how the SPY is going to hold around 441. All right. Overall, now let's just go ahead and take a look at the indicators. We can see that the MACD just crossed above, which is a bullish signal. The RSI is really stagnant, even though the SPY is making new highs. This is also a bullish signal. We can see that this is a bull flag here. Let me go ahead. I'm an artist. Little bull flag here, right? And breaking out. So this is also a pretty bullish situation. But of course, we could end up retesting the top flag of this bull flag and then continue on higher. But essentially, we need to see how we're going to respond around 441 and 440.50. All right, those are going to be two important levels for the SPY. But we'll get a better understanding of how the SPY is going to handle itself in the next coming days once we look at the other indices. All right, so overall, the SPY does look pretty bullish. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM, which is the Russell 2000. So the IWM, lots and lots of things going on here. Let's just take it one piece at a time. All right, so first of all, we're still trading within the same range. Literally, we've been trading around for quite some time here. All right, so again, we have resistance at 224 and support here at 220 at 80. So you can see that it intersects. So there's an uptrend line, which is this darker green line right here, in confluence with our Fibonacci level, the 50% Fibonacci level at 220.87. Okay, so that is a very important level of support here on the IWM for tomorrow. But again, literally, if this level doesn't hold, then we can potentially go and retest this same trend line here around the 217, 218 level. And I mean, you can look at the MACD now. The MACD is crossed above and flying above, essentially. Very different than the SPY. The RSI is also pointed downwards while the price is pointed downwards, so it's not as bullish. And you could make the argument that this is a bear flag, which is a bearish pattern. So essentially, we need to monitor whether or not the IWM can sustain itself above this trend line here and above this trend line here. All right, if it can remain above those two trend lines, then overall, the IWM will continue being bullish. But if, these big ones here get taken out, then it can start looking very, very bad for the IWM. And I mean, that's really about it. Aside from that, it's just every other day, it's like the same thing. It's trading within a range, and we just need to see if there's going to be definitive movement soon. All right. So we could also take a look at the US 10-year yield, which is a good indicator of the potential strength in the IWM. And you can see that the US 10-year yield is really, really strong at the moment. The MACD is very overbought now, and the RSI is leaning towards becoming overbought soon as well. So we need to see if it can remain above these very important levels of resistance. And if it can sustain itself and then continue on higher, then that will be a very bullish scenario for the IWM. Right now, it just looks like we've been falling so much on the 10-year yield that a little bit of a bounce was inevitable, which is why this little bounce here is not causing a huge move upward in the IWM. All right. So we just need to see if that can remain and continue. So now we can look at the dollar. The dollar is also bouncing very, very heavily. And you can see that there's clearly no correlation between the dollar strength as well as Bitcoin strength. All right, because before, if you remember, when the dollar was doing well, Bitcoin would fall and the overall stock market would also fall. But now it's a much more different environment, and the same technical parameters that you had before, not all of them apply anymore, right? So the dollar, we've been monitoring this uptrend, and remember, we broke this same uptrend level, and now we're coming back to retest it. Okay, so we need to see if it can remain, if we can cross back above it, or if it's going to bounce down off of this level and then create like some sort of a bullish, bull flag pattern, consolidate a bit, and then break back above. So yeah, the dollar looks bullish overall as well. And now we can go ahead and check out the Nasdaq. Chart of the Nasdaq looks very similar to the SPY in terms of the the MACD. The MACD is just crossing above, which is a bullish signal. You can see a bull flag here as well, similar to the SPY, and a breakout above. I just need to fix this Fibonacci level now. Okay, so now you can see, we're trading above this uptrend line on the Nasdaq. So this can be a new level to see whether or not we can remain above. As you can see, it's had multiple touches. So from May 19th, we have a touch on July 19th. And also, once you just extend it, it naturally came and retested on August 3rd as well. So you can see this is now a more relevant uptrend line as well now, since this one isn't as applicable. And you can remember, like, we were tracking this darker uptrend line for quite some time. And the day that we closed below it, I signaled short, and we ended up making a lot of money. So let's see if that can, repeat itself here. But it's not a guarantee, because the sharper upward a trend line is, the more the more, what's the word, extreme the movement to the downside is going to be. So since this isn't since this trend line here, right, it's not as sharp upward as this one, a break down might not necessarily mean a huge move downward. It could just mean, if we break down and close, it can mean like we'll just consolidate a bit and then bounce back higher. All right, so we just need to continue monitoring the Nasdaq. Overall, the Nasdaq clearly looks very, very bullish. The RSI isn't even touching overbought yet. The MACD barely overbought. We can go ahead and check out the 30-year yield. So the 30-year yield doesn't look that bullish. It broke below a very key uptrend level that we've been monitoring. So yeah, if the 30-year yield and the dollar are not doing well, then the Nasdaq is not going to do well. So we just need to see how. We just need to continue looking at how the 30-year yield is going to do, and we can key off of this to see the overall strength in the Nasdaq. And I mean, another reason why the 30-year yield was falling is because the 10-year yield was bouncing very heavily. All right, so it's not an automatic cause of concern. Okay. So yeah, overall, the Nasdaq and the stock market overall looks very, very bullish. The IWM still trading within a range. And things look very, very bullish overall for the stock market. We can go ahead and check out crude oil. Not so much for crude oil. Yeah, it needs to hold this 786% fib level at 64, like we were watching before. And we're back to testing this same exact level. And yeah, we just need to see if it can bounce off of this level now. So that is really it for the overall markets. We can go ahead and check out Bitcoin. So we were monitoring two very important blue trend lines. Okay. And the first day that we closed above it, that was basically the sign of being very, very bullish. And I said that if we closed above this blue trend line, and this green trend line, then things were going to be very, very bullish. And literally, that's exactly what happened. That, like, I kept on saying this. I kept saying as soon as we close above these two trend lines, things are going to be very bullish. And I just don't really like when I have these predictions that work. I just don't market them essentially as like, oh my god, look, I said this and this happened, blah blah blah. Like, I could do that, but I mean, like, then it would just. But yeah, anyway, it worked out, and we closed above both of these trend lines, and it just worked out perfectly. Let me turn this off and just look at how beautiful the price action was. So we closed, right? We closed above this darker green trend line here. We ended up, flying upward and then coming back and retesting. So we retested this level, and then we crossed back above the trend line, and now we're at this very, very important trend line here at 45,680. And yeah, it doesn't get any more clean than this. I was saying that Ethereum, literally I said that as Bitcoin was consolidating around here, I was saying that Ethereum was going to have the most strength, and then Ethereum was going to pull the market up. And then as Ethereum pulled the market up, Bitcoin was going to follow afterward. And literally, I mean, this is what happened. This is literally what's been happening for years and years now in the crypto markets. Yeah, it's beautiful. So now Ethereum needs to see if we can hold above 3,000. The next level of resistance is going to be essentially right here around 3,400. So 3375 is going to be a very important level for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, this 45.6 level, and then essentially the 50,000 level. From there, then we're just going to make new all-time highs, and then people are going to start trading like random poop coins. So yeah, things are going to be great soon. And things are still really amazing. So there's my overall analysis for the stock market and the crypto markets. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.